You welcome back. My name is Raymond Aqua. On our front today, Dr. Thomas Mensah is my guest. He's an inventor. He's a man of extraordinary international standards. I'm sure just you searching for his name will let you know how extraordinary he's been. But his entire being is because of the kind of education he got. Today, we hope to get from him the perspective of an inventor and somebody who understands how and what the outcomes of education is supposed to be, in our quest to ensure that there's quality at the senior high school level. And to be clear, at all levels of our education standards, for a country that recently, 92% of the students who sought to actually be assessed at the primary school level could not at any point in time read nor write. It was worse for those who are supposed to do so or solve small mathematics problems too. It tells us how dangerous our educational outcomes are in this country. In any way, by the time they will try to get into universities after the senior high school education, we know that almost 70% of all of the students drift off into several other sections. What do we do with this section? How do we make sure that we are competitive on the global plane? That's the more reason why we're having this conversation with Dr. Thomas Mensah. Doc, you're welcome to our front.
Thank you, my friend Raymond. The kind of questions you are raising is really important to all countries. Okay, I mean, getting youngsters to reach certain level of capability, especially in reading, writing, and what we call STEM. You know, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, is problematic. In the United States, particularly the black schools, you know, the kids are more interested in music, you know, rapping and others. They don't spend a lot of time studying and focusing on mathematics as they should. And so this problem is worldwide. Okay. But from the statistics you are really throwing out, it shows that this is a very serious problem in Ghana that we have to tackle and find ways to really solve this problem and at least reduce the percentages to a level that is acceptable.
The interesting part is that Ghana, you start off school at preschool level.
Yes.
The education is predominantly grammar-based.
Yes.
So the basic tests you have to go through comprehension, ability to read and write.
Yes.
And maybe along the line, you get to imbibe some level of mathematics and basic statistics along the line.
Yes.
So you get to the senior high school level where you'll be introduced to other courses. You have to choose among these. Our plan has always been to get 60% of the students doing science. It's never materialized in this country.
Wow.
We always get it inverted. Actually, the chunk of our students are in the arts and the art-related courses, with a few of them doing the sciences across the country. Wow. Now, for a country that seeks, among other things, to be on the global stage, compete, and more importantly, because now anybody in New York or, let's say, in Hong Kong can apply for the same job in this country like any other person. Okay. And a company that continues complain that our jobs are being taken over in the mining and other relevant sectors by foreigners. Will this education system that we are currently running help us get where we want to get to?
Well, I would say no. In terms of competition, Ghana is behind. Okay. And first of all, I studied under the old system. We used to have an O level and A level. I see. O means ordinary, A means the advanced level. And O level, that's when you go all the way to some of the best schools like Adisada, where I went. You know, O level, that means even UK still uses O and A level. You know. And what I saw was that those that took those O and A levels, when they go to UK, Germany, or even the United States, they excel higher than the Americans.
I see.
Yes, at one time, MIT, the top engineering school, had 100 Ghanaians at MIT, you know. And so with the O and A levels, we were like, you know, number one, you know. But several countries have overtaken us, and looks like we are going back. Places like India and China, where the youngsters, they really tell them, hey, this is serious. The parents are urging them on. Now, I was lucky. My dad used to read newspapers to me. You're talking about readings at the age of 4. So at the age of 4, I was reading newspapers fluently. You know, and I used to, they say, oh, Thomas, why don't you read this section here? You know, I pride myself on reading, you know, to impress the adults around me. And at the age of 8, my neighbor spoke French. So I started speaking French, you know. So the ability to read and the comprehension you demonstrate is very, very important at that very age. And so if you look at my background, when I started SHS at what is called the Wesley College Practice School in Kumasi. You know, Wesley College Practice School is where the teachers are being trained to be teachers. So that's where they practice with us. It's a training college. Yes, they practice with us, you know. And so I was excelling there, and that's how I got into Adisada, at this school, you know.
From a public school?
Yes. And so in my mind, I know it's bridge under the water. We cannot bring back the O levels and A levels, but at least we have to have ways of raising the standards, if you will, both at the SHS level all the way up to the university level, all the way through. Because one thing I've realized, the world is a competitive world. And so our youngsters have to have the mind frame of competition. I still compete, you know, because you can go through the whole system, get to university, even become a professor. And how do you compete at that level? You have to write technical papers. And then your peers are judging you by what you are writing about. If it is mathematics, if it is science, have you discovered anything? So I still compete, even at this level. You know, I have 4 books on innovation. I have a book on fiber optics engineering. I have a book on superconductor engineering. I have a book on, you know, this book, The Right Stuff Comes in Black too, which I'll give you a copy live on television. And basically in this, I have written about everything that had to be done for us to develop fiber optics. You know, everybody now is on Facebook, is on Instagram. You know, I share in this book how we did it, how we developed fiber optics, so we can sit here and press send, and your Facebook picture is in China. Your Instagram picture is in America. It's in all the cities. But it requires a certain standard of grounding. You know, even from the age of SHS, you got to have that ground. You got to have that background. You got to have the ability to solve mathematical problems.
So that's where my difficulty is. At what point did we start getting it wrong? It sounds to me from what you're saying that when you were young, and I would want to visit this some 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Exactly.
Yes. When you were young, the education system seems to have provided the basis for the right outcomes.
Yes.
So you went to primary school.
Yes.
You went to, there was no junior high school, right?
No, I went straight from Wesley College Practice School.
Okay.
Straight to Adisada
So you did
College.
O and A levels.
I did an O and A levels even at this school. Yes.
It sounds to me that there was a junior high school.
Yes.
At the, what do you call it? So you wrote a common entrance.
Yes.
That's what we call the junior high school system.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. So you went through junior high school.
Yes.
And went to the best of the schools, which is less likely to happen in our current situation because it was close to impossible for you to go to a public school.
Yes.
And get into, what they call it, at Southern College recently.
Yes.
Exactly what happened to that public school, basic school system?
Well, you know, first of all, I was very good in mathematics.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I was, you know, at the very top. So when you get in 100 in mathematics, 100 in science, and, you know, it puts you in a pipeline to go to the best places. So when you go to, let's say, you know, a disco, and there's what, Prempeh, there's Augustins, there's Presec, all these schools are very good schools. And they were very competitive. I mean, at disco, we had a friendly competition with Mfatsipin as to who can get the best scores in science and math. And it kind of trails you all the way to Kwame Nkrumah University or to the tertiary university level, where you're still competing. And so we got to get our kids to the level where that they say, wow, this is serious. Math is fun. I should compete. I should work very, very hard. I just spoke to some students at the Atomic Energy Commission.
Okay.
Yeah, they came, they were physics students. When you go to Silicon Valley, GH.com, you see them there. And I told them, you know, they're all mathematics and science and physics. I told them, look, still compete. Don't forget that. You got to be, you got to stay competitive throughout your life.
But how does the kid who goes to school and cannot read or write, and is being through basic education entirely, and yet cannot do a simple mathematic calculation, and cannot put any basic understanding to comprehension in this case, how does such a child get to compete?
Well, in America, what we discovered was that some students may get to, let's say, even university, but they need what we call remedial.
Okay.
You know, so we have a session where they go back and then redo some of the fundamentals. I just talked to one gentleman who finished at Kwame Nkrumah University in science, in geology, and then decided to go and teach for his national service. Okay. So he is there, and really I learned from him the kind of problems we are facing in the school. He said, look, some of these kids, number one, their moms will just grab them from school and let them go to work, you know. And then some of them, basically, I used to give books to the brighter ones, you know. And then I used to spend time doing these remedial classes, you know, go back for what they should have had in math or even reading that. They were out to go all the way back and start helping them to get there. And sometimes by the time I finish, time's up, you got to move on. And so what I would really suggest currently is for a systematic analysis of our education system. You know, with people like me and others, you know, I'm prepared to advise the Minister of Education on this. Where we are right now and come up with real solutions. You know, for example, what we've seen is that, first of all, even some of the teachers are not motivated enough. You know, some of the teachers, they just want their paycheck, you know, and some of them don't care too much about the kids.
Because she has a very big class. I mean, if you have 120 students in a single classroom, how do you ensure that all of these have their welfare taken care of by a single teacher?
Well, we've been, in the U.S., we've moved towards what is called smaller classes. You know, my friend actually had 40 students. That's manageable.
I see.
You know, 100, that's too much. You may not even remember the name of the guy that's sitting way at the back. You know, I used to always sit at the front.
Brilliant students do.
Yeah, and so basically, I think we have to come to these small sizes. That's very, very important.
I see.
You know, I had that all the way up to Adisada College. We have smaller classes, all the way, so the teacher can have close interaction with the students, deal with small classes, they'll be motivated. So having good teachers, providing resources to the schools is very, very important. You know, I commend Nana Addo, His Excellency. You know, when he met me in the U.S., came to my office on the 41st floor of the tallest skyscraper, an African at that. So we sat down, we were talking, and he showed me his vision. He said, Doc, I'll use some of the oil money, you know, to provide the SHS. And now he's making it happen. Free SHS for everybody, which I agree. You know, because you may lose, you don't know who is going to be a Dr. Mensah. You know, you don't know who's going to be invent the next big thing or be one of the top people in artificial intelligence. We'll talk about that. And so you got to give the chance to a lot of people, but that requires resources. You know, have all the kids have that chance, especially coming from Ghana. So we have that chance, they go, oh yeah, that guy, there's a potential. He's going to be somebody. He's going to be an inventor. He's going to write books. You're going to be competitive. You're going to make Ghana proud. So you may be able to identify, but you have to give the chance to everybody. It's not easy, because I look at some schools, and they have one side of the building is open, so when it's raining, it's coming to the classroom.
Yeah.
You know, and so we need a lot of resources for that, and that's why I'm pleased that some of the what do you call it, contracts they are giving now, you know, to do the roads and to do the schools. I hope this contract will help, you know. So I go to school, I don't need the water coming into my room, dodging rain. You know, I want to be able to focus on what I'm doing. The next thing too is to have computers in the schools. You know, I was telling somebody, I spoke to 3,000 students in America, in a whole stadium, 3,000 students and teachers. And I wanted to have my slides projected onto the big Jumbotron screen so they can really know what I'm talking about. Couldn't do it, so you know what I did? I said, take your cell phones, all 3,000 took their cell phones. I said, Google it. They got the information I wanted right on their cell phones. You know, so we got to have it such that the schools have internet capability. They have computer lab. You know, if they cannot afford computer or laptop for everybody, a computer lab that the kids can go to. Because the world is so competitive. And the innovation we've done in fiber optics now allow anybody to access the internet with even a smartphone, with a phone. So they can just access that. And the internet is supposed to bring what is called equalizer in education. You know, you can come from a little village somewhere, so far as you have that little cell phone, you can get to the internet, have Wi-Fi, bingo. You can say, hey, what is nanotechnology? What is artificial intelligence? You tap in, and then you are learning like anybody else. So we got to bring Ghana to that level. You know, by providing those resources, these schools are going to have computer labs. Experts like me will help the Minister of Education make sure this happens. And number two, we got to motivate the students. We got to motivate the teachers. You know, one thing I've shown you, one of the things I show these kids, because what they can't relate is what is the theoretical equation and the dry math, and how does it come to the real world? How does that relate to the cell phone that I'm using now? How does that relate to artificial intelligence? How does it relate to software and coding? How does that relate to you know, I used to show people when you have lasers that read the discs. You know, that's how you store information. I used to show them stuff like that. And one thing that I will show very soon is a robotic bird that we have built. That bird is a mechanical bird. You look at it, it looks like any other bird.
A robotic bird?
Yes. The only difference is that it has a camera in its head. And as it flies around taking pictures and sending to my cell phone, the pictures it's seen, as it's doing that, when I show kids, they go, wow, they're happy. Wow, you know, that little bit, very, very small, like this, with a small camera. You know, we'll show it. We'll show parts of it with a video that I sent you, so they can see it. They can see the bird flapping its wings and sending me information. I say, then they ask me, hey, how does my mathematics relate to this? I say, your mathematics is going to help you tell the bird, you know, how to fly its wings, its aerodynamics, how to move very, very fast, how to slow down, how to stop, how to perch on a wall, how to take pictures and send to me. So those things excite kids. So I try to bring them the practical aspects of life that they see, the cell phone, the robotic bird, and things like that. They, oh, wow. Then I'm going to stay in school and do this. I had an 8-year-old walk up to me and I said, oh, thanks for inspiring me. 8 years old.
I see.
No, it makes you feel good. And we want to do the same thing in Ghana. You know, we want both the teachers and the students to see the relationship between the theoretical knowledge and some of the practical things we see in the world. So that's what we will be doing. As I said, we will help the Minister of Education or whoever is involved to make sure this happens.
I want to understand this. I mean, I heard you say that free SHS is a very good thing. But now it's being deployed to every Ghanaian student.
Yes.
Government is struggling with resources to be able to do this. Would you think it would have been better that government targeted the poor and gave them this resource, so that those who were already paying and could pay were exempted from it?
Well, I mean, anytime you are trying to target those who don't have, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree with that. And then we do that and still have a strategy to say, we are getting almost all the kids in.
Okay.
You know, so the education is across the board.
I get you.
Everybody. You might have missed a potential Dr. Mensah here.
I see.
And then we will have fiber optics. You know, we want everybody to be involved. You know, and so having I remember one day, I decided I was sent home.
Really?
I was sent home and said, hey, you got to go get your school fees. Can you believe? And then that was 2 weeks to an exam. I had to go all the way. My dad had a big cocoa farm in Sunyani, Brown Halfway area. Come all the way down there, go all the way to the village to get that school fees and bring it up again. Some people may not even be able to get the money. You know, some parents, you know, they would even have the money to, can you imagine? They may not have the money. So we need to target, like you say, people who don't have the means and make sure that they get it so you don't miss. You may have somebody very, very intelligent, but the parents don't have anything. So you got to, you know, grab all of them. That's one part of the equation. You got to have a way of motivating them, motivating their teachers. You know, that the teachers are getting them engaged, excited, and everything. All the way. As I say, it's a lifelong competition. You know, I still compete right now.
I see.
I compete in
But you are
many
the pinnacle of it. I mean, the understanding is that it's not your kind that should be engaging in competitions of this sort. Should it be?
Yeah, but I've taken on maybe 5 different fields. You know, whether it's aeronautics, robotics, drones. That's one area. You know.
Oh, I see.
Yes, that's one area. And whether it's chemical engineering, that's another area. Whether it's fiber optics, that's another area. Whether it's nanotechnology. So I have all these different fields that I compete strongly because my textbook, Nanotechnology Commercialization, this is a textbook that is being used to teach PhD students in America.
I get your point.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to know from you is, because, for example, in September, next month,
yes,
we are starting a new system where we are going to let some students at the senior high school level, what used to be O and A levels, we are going to let some students go to school for a couple of months.
Okay.
Then there's a break for them.
Yeah.
Then the second batch goes to school. It's called double track system.
I see.
The idea is that some countries have done it, but we are doing it because we have a huge number coming out of our free SHS program.
Okay.
Who, if we go strictly according to the current and existing spaces in the school, almost half of them will be let to go home.
I see.
But questions are being raised about how this experimentation is likely to either improve or affect negatively the quality at the senior high school level. From your experience, does it matter whether you have a smaller number of days for students to be in school compared to what's going to happen in the current system? Does it matter whether you are going to have longer contact hours or school hours for the students? Are these the most important issues to ensure that education meets the outcome that we want to have it?
Well, as I said, this is a global problem. You know, I know some places where they wanted some students even to catch up during summer, during summer recess, you know, to catch up. I mentioned where people get into universities and they are behind, they have to have remediation and all that, you know. But those guys are doing it, want people to catch up just because have longer hours and all that, just because people are behind, you know. So you mean 2 months you get a first batch,
yes,
right?
Then there's a vacation for them.
Yeah.
Then they go back to school. and going to write exams.
Yeah.
When they go on vacation for 2 months,
Yeah.
the second batch comes to school.
Okay.
Then they also take a vacation and stay with the first batch to write exams getting to the end of the year.
Okay.
There's been complaints about we doing it for the first time, we having what it takes in terms of resource and other things to deal with the problem, and we having the quality. And because this puts a lot of pressure, one, on extended period for you to study in school.
Yes, yes.
Because you have to make use of the small time that you have.
Yeah, yeah.
And so much time for the students to be at home.
Yes, you know, I'm hoping that when they are home, they are still studying.
Is that guaranteed in this part of the country?
Well, like I said, the internet is an equalizer. You know, if you've exposed them to certain, you know, principles in physics, mathematics, and all, they can still be doing at home on the internet while they're at home. There's something called distance learning. I talk about it in my book.
I see.
Yeah, where you stay at home and then you're attending.
Oh, but in the current company, there's nothing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but these are things that I'm bringing up.
Okay.
So that people can begin to think about this.
So you should give them distance learning. I know
Yes.
at the university level, students go to distance learning.
Yes, yes.
So they're having screens and modules on computers that they can't use.
Yes, yes. And as I said, you know, I'm glad we are doing this here because you've taken on a very serious subject where we are helping the Minister of Education, the Ministries of Education, deputy ministers and all that have their hands around this problem and begin to solve it in a way this is being solved elsewhere.
I see.
You know. So having said all that, then you got to come to curriculum.
Yes, I was going to go to that.
Because in India, right now, when you go to India, they are coding, they are providing the software. You'll be surprised. So the kids in India right now say, oh, what do you want to do? Hey, I want to be a software engineer. Almost 80%. You know, and they are coding. One of the things I will show here, where we developed a smartwatch. You move it in front of TV and it changes the station on a television. You know, you are wearing it, you bring your hand down, and then this lights dim. You raise your hand and lights go up. So this technology, I co-invented it with a group in India. You know, why? Because those guys, you know, they said software, that's software. You know, they are the best. And so all the companies, Apple, Facebook, they are putting their labs over there. You know, my goal is to have Ghana become so good so that it's not only the Google Artificial Intelligence, we can have Facebook coming here, we can have Apple coming here. And then when these companies come, they sit around and say, oh, can I invest in the, what do you call it? How can I invest? Apple say, how can I invest in Ghanaian school system?
I see.
You know,
now, it's interesting you bring that particular up. This element of curriculum development.
Yeah.
There's been long talk about reforms in this country for a very long time.
Right.
What should be the focus of any form of reform of the curriculum we want to do?
Well, I'm a scientist, so I always push for more science. and the reason is very simple. We live in a scientific world at the moment. Use your cell phone. I mean, there are so many things if you don't understand. I don't say do the mathematics. I don't say do the mathematics. All I would say is that periodically, we should have the ability for non-scientists to understand some basics in science.
I see.
Non-scientists, you know, because even if you want to be a musician, you're going to have to manage your money instead of just leaving it to some accountant, finance, you know. So you got to understand some of the math, regardless of what subject you cannot live in this world and enjoy this world without some basic understanding of science, because you're using science all around you.
So science education should be at the center of the curriculum development.
Should be priority.
So
Priority.
should
US is like that.
Okay.
Yes, you call it STEM. US is like that. China is like that.
That's why they are doing inventions.
Yes, they are doing not just invention, they are doing wonderful things. China is an economic power now, the second economic power behind the US, because now they are putting the emphasis on science, education, and getting people involved. So this is very, very important. We got to do that.
Okay, I'll come back to you after this break. We'll continue our conversation on improving education at the senior high school and other levels. My guest today is Dr. Thomas Mensah. He's an inventor, he's a man of many parts, and a man whose extraordinary contribution to the area of science has been noted worldwide. We'll come back from this break to continue the conversation. So we're actually having a revealing review of education system in the country with a man who understands it all and is an inventor. Dr. Thomas Mensah is my guest on UPfront today. You have actually been sending us messages, and I'll grant you the particular privilege. I would be in a position to read some of your messages on Facebook as you sent it following that particular conversation that we are having here in the studio. For example, Noah God knows, Billy says, my only suggestion is that since our teachers will spend more time in the classroom, they must be paid well or compensated well. Their salary must also get better as well. I've also seen that of Alex Pogba, who says, teachers are the most important people on earth because out of the most outcome of a child not only depend on the parent but also the teacher. This one says, I suggest the government considers the option of online distance learning to engage students while they are on break so that we would submit assignments, project works, embark on peer review, discuss problems, and also brainstorm on topical issues and projects which can equally ease congestion and absorb even more members. It's possible. And it actually says hashtag UPfront and hashtag JoyNews. I'll be bringing more of your messages in the course of our conversation. This one says this man is great and understands what he's talking about. This one says he's a genius. I like him. And many of those comments are on Facebook and it's on JoyNews where we are streaming live this particular conversation. Now, we left off understanding what we need to do to our curriculum system, improving it, making it science-based, and so that the innovations expected of the young in this country can be improved. Now, there's another key matter that actually has always been an issue for many. And you say the predominant of the message has been, what kind of teacher do we want to lead our kids into the next generation so that we produce the kind of competitive kids that we want? Is the Ghanaian teacher currently able to deliver on that kind of education?
Well, what I like was the fact that we should pay teachers more. I like that, you know. But then in America, the same thing is going on.
Okay.
You know, I have some schools in Kentucky and other areas all getting up and actually saying they needed more pay, you know, which I feel, you know, teachers should be paid. But during the President Obama's administration, it's all right, teachers want to be paid, that's fine, then we are also going to evaluate you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're a teacher, you have a job. In America, you have a job forever.
Okay.
But then they're going to evaluate you. So I don't have any problem with the pay structure. We have to increase, make the teachers feel that they are really respected and they are really valued. That's fine. But then the teachers also should be doing continuing education, how can they improve their teaching, you know, I mean, how can they raise their teaching level and become more proficient at teaching? Everybody has to improve, no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. I learn and study all the time. So the teachers can say, oh, how can I get my students to learn better, look at different models themselves. And then once they are doing that, we should pay them more.
And that should really impact the teacher training institutions too, the colleges of education, where these teachers are trained. Oh,
exactly. You know, Winneba and then the ones closer here. Mm-hmm. And even that teacher training, they should be using modern methods. You know, right now, you know, like I said, I say that in my book too. There is e-classrooms and then using teachers where teachers can even send homework to you on your email and you can submit it online, all that stuff. You know, that's going on.
But that's a child in the cities, right? I mean, in most of our villages, it's difficult to count on proper functioning internet, if not for the services of the mobile telephony companies.
Well, I've already raised this issue once, you know, when I spoke on Captain Smart. I've raised that, hey, if we give $2 billion to this group, you know, to improve rural areas, the schools and the roads. You know, they should do all these things. You know, $2 billion, that's a lot of money, and they should.
$2 billion?
Yeah.
To which group?
Parliament has approved that.
Yes, the Chinese deal, Sino-Hydro.
Yeah. Whoever it is, I don't care whoever it is. All I'm saying is that, hey, you got to do these things to improve.
Sorry, so let me be clear. Which other things do you think they should do? Because they are just putting up infrastructure.
But infrastructure, computers and labs and internet is infrastructure. Infrastructure doesn't mean only road.
But the agreement we have with them does not include these things.
Well, I've mentioned that if they say they want to improve the school, that's very important. What I'm saying is very, very important.
I see.
It's not just we just put roads.
So we should put it as part of the barter agreement we want to have with them.
Yes. Whatever. If it's $2 billion, if education is important, they should be reflected. And if they need people who understand this, they talk to me or talk to somebody else.
I see.
You know, because the roads are important.
Yeah.
All right. And I've mentioned that in addition to the roads, they should put these cold stores in the villages so that the harvest comes in, they put it in a place that can last for a whole year without getting spoiled. All this should be part of it. So
what I understand is saying that the roads are not enough.
Yeah,
Mainly fixing roads is not a solution to the economic prosperity of the people.
That's not enough. You know, they should be sitting down with experts like me and say, all right, we get the roads and all that. Now, hey, the foods that we want to bring, they are no cold storage systems. I told this to the Minister of Transport. When Nana say, hey, talk to this minister, that's the first thing I told him. He said, talk to me, it's a great idea. Put these containers with cold storage systems. So we got all the food, put it in, it can last for the whole year, it won't spoil. We can put it on the trucks, take it, you know, so that I can reach the places.
And you say you've discussed with the various ministries involved?
Yeah, I talked to the Minister of Transport.
But
he said, that's a great idea. And so...
it didn't reflect in the what's before Parliament, to be fair. I have seen the document. It didn't reflect in that particular arrangement.
Well, I mean, these could be added. I don't know. It should be added. Because you don't want the food to spoil. You know, you don't want food to spoil. You want the food to be preserved so that you can put it on the trucks and it get to the cities. That's where the markets are. You know, so the poor guy, the farmer, is getting, you know, money for its products. And this is done everywhere. This is done in Europe, everywhere. You know, in Europe, they have snow. So sometimes of the year, you can't do nothing, right? So they got to store stuff like that.
Now, let me be clear in my mind on this one.
So that'll help the schools.
Yes.
You know.
Okay, so there's this particular message that I want to bring to your attention because we are discussing the curriculum part.
Yeah.
Ghana as a country would need, and Isaac Ajekum Diodu actually put up that message. It says, Ghana as a country would need vocational and technical oriented curriculum which will equip our youth from infancy with some problem-solving skills than this reading and writing education we are pushing the state's resources into. There's another one for Nanachi.
No, let me look at that.
You agree?
See, let me look at that. You need both. You know, we need to have the polytechnics, and then we will show what kind of curriculum should be in the polytechnics. You know, somebody comes out, not everybody could be calculus material like the way we did it, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's not demeaning to teach them the tools whereby they can have some expertise using the lathe machine to cut pipe. Not only using the lathe machine to cut pipes, but also wiring, wiring for even a home. You know, and then when they finish, they can even set up their own businesses. They'll be providing those services to homes. You know, your home, the wire, you call this guy because he's learning it in the polytechnic. He come in and look at the wires and help you put the wires together. Mechanics, all of this should be, because there are two tracks. Not everybody want to be a scientist.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody has the ability to reach the top.
Yeah.
But you can still be an expert by working, fixing computers or fixing wiring and doing things. It can be done in the polytechnics. So the curriculum should not only help them fix air condition when the air condition is down as a mechanic, fixing the piping and all that, they can set up their own businesses to do these things, you know, and that's very, very important. They do that, they can be helpful when we are wiring the smart grid and all that, they can work in those
middle level manpower with the technical skills to be able to deliver on some of these visions.
Yeah, but you got to have the polytechnics.
Okay.
You know, focus on those things.
Polytechnics were really technical education.
Yeah, you know, technical education. You know, but even on the standard education system, you are required to have so many hours in just hands-on doing things, you know, cutting metal, wiring things, you know, not just theory.
Oh, okay.
Not just theory, you know.
But this theory, I mean, the complaint has been that because we lack what it takes to deliver on the practical part, that's why we do the predominant theory.
Yeah,
that's the argument.
Yeah, all you have to do is basically provide the lathe machines and the things the polytechnic students can train on. Provide, it's called hands-on engineering. You know, you come in, they use the lathe to make a part. That will make you, you know, because believe you me, if Kantanka and Swami Magazine, all those people can work with these things, we should have our polytechnics doing the same thing. You know, oh, somebody comes here, oh, this air condition is bad. They should be able to fix it. You know, you cannot say you are a technical guy and you cannot fix an air condition.
that's interesting. Okay. All right. There are questions, a few of them that are still
and all these will be helpful. They can even go into the things I'm proposing here, the cold store and all that, the refrigeration system. You know,
but would that not be too much for just our 2 billion plan? Because the 2 billion was just to make sure that we fix roads. And the government says selected roads in the Brown Alpha region, in the Ashanti region. And these are even intra-city roads. There's one on Dodu Pepeso and the Eastern Corridor.
Yeah, I hear schools in there. I saw schools.
Yes, but I mean, that was a bigger plan. I mean, that's going forward, engaging them. Yes.
The schools, what would they be doing in the schools? Right?
It's not part of the first plan. And the first part, what we expect this year, that's not part of it.
Yeah, because what I've said is that the schools don't have the resources. They don't have the computer labs. They are way behind. I've said that already.
Okay.
And we got to have that. You know,
But can that be coterminous with the roads being developed, or we should make it separate from that?
Well, I don't care how they skin the cat. So far it's specified.
Okay.
That hey, it's nice to bring these products. See, the containers I'm talking about may not even be in it.
Okay.
You know, to do the roads, right? But the roads is for you to bring something.
I see.
You know, whether you're bringing it to Kumasi or to Accra from the rural areas, you know, the roads should bring something. What you are bringing is the food. You know, food for planting.
Planting for food and
planting
jobs.
for food.
Yes.
You bring in what they are doing. You know, because in some shows I've talked about precision agriculture. You know, where a drone will fly over there and tell you, hey, you got to do fertilizer over there. And, you know, hey, it's time to irrigate. Bring on a sprinkler. It's time to put pesticides.
I see.
You know, so if the agriculture is important, then once you get it, you got to put it in a cold storage. You don't let it rot.
And this should be taught in schools, right? So that we have the right kind of manpower.
Yeah, you get people involved, you know, easily, and then the kids can learn all this stuff.
The plan of government includes what the Vice President has touted consistently, our plan to distribute medicines to distress areas.
Yeah, that came from
drones.
me.
It came from you?
Yes, it's
really?
on my 100-day agenda.
I see.
Yes. All innovation in Ghana now, all of them, you know.
You engaged him?
I gave him a copy.
Oh, okay. And he's implementing
Yes.
that.
And I'm glad he's doing it. But it came from me. I built drones.
You built drones?
I built drones for the Pentagon.
I see. So are you the one that they are sourcing these drones from?
No. The drones is very easy to source. There's a company in Kenya can do it.
Yeah.
Company there, you know.
Okay.
But the whole idea, I build drones so I can think of it and put it on the paper.
So how is it supposed to work? Drone would deliver it to a hospital in a remote area?
Yeah, my idea was, and one of my company has, my idea was, you can have these drones, they take all the medicines and the drugs. Some clinics don't have that. And we don't have helicopters to go over there. My idea is say, hey, why don't you let these drones, you take a clinic over there in some village somewhere, take it to the clinic, And then usually, one of the arguments I use in the United States, when a woman gives birth, they need blood. So they can send blood to the hospital, save the life. If somebody is in a car accident, they need blood. So the drones are supposed to do that. And the fact that I've done these things for the Pentagon, U.S. Pentagon, I believe in sophisticated drones like this. I build sophisticated drones that does precision agriculture, drones that's what I've just talked about, and drones that are used in the military.
Yes, let's talk about, are you also the one behind the plan to use drones to monitor Galamsey area?
Yes, yes. See, the drones are very, very easy. Okay. The payload in the drone has a video camera in it.
I see.
Video camera. And so when the Galamsey guys are there, they say, hey, they hear the stuff and they are running because of artificial intelligence drones. Hey, this guy is here. So he's bringing the information. Therefore, I'm even recommending, once you identify the site that they were, because when you leave, they try to come back. We would have even a camera there watching. The drone come back, and they come back, the drones, even if they leave, the camera will watch them.
I see, it's an interesting one. So where else are we deploying drones to beyond the Galamsey sites, beyond the...
Agricultural?
No, you've not mentioned agriculture yet. Are we going to use it?
Yes. Precision agriculture is being done now.
Where was it being done?
Well,
I see, where has government agreed to deploy it? And what
the Agri Ministry is doing that.
What are they going to do? When are they going to do that?
Oh, they've started it.
Really? Where?
Yeah, they've started it. I will get back to you on that, but I know they've started it.
Okay, so they told you they started that.
Yeah, and I have...
So what is it supposed to do exactly?
Drone is up here. Instead of farmers guessing, I'm going to put fertilizer or run around the entire field to say, hey, the worms are eating everything. The drones is the one that's going to say, hey, let's do this. And even it can activate the sprinklers to put the water to irrigation. It can do that automatically.
Okay.
So those are two applications. I have another application where there is war and all that, and I did this for the military.
So you mount the sprinklers all over the place, then the drone will activate where it's supposed to do its work.
Yeah, to irrigate it.
I see.
Yes. Israel is doing that everywhere. That's
irrigation through drone work.
Yeah, and that's where, Israel is a desert, right? They can turn the desert into forest just by that.
I see. Now, let me wrap up with some of these comments. This one says, great to hear you talk about technical and polytechnic education, citing Kantanka as a very pivotal force. Can you please tell us government's plan for Kantanka and Automobile Company Limited? This one says, I think doctors' emphasis must be placed on technical education, where the youth will be equipped. Moreover, book-oriented education system is not providing the needs of the country, but the question is, who is bringing the system? There will always be political leadership change, and the country still stands as Ghana. One says, I agree with Dr. Mensah, but on the top of it, teachers can give students tough, competitive, and challenging assignments as vacation packages. There's a question as to, okay, so this one is about intra-city and not intercity trains. It's asking whether you've considered that.
Yeah, I mean, Nigeria president just inaugurated a subway. That's intra-city.
Oh, okay, interesting. Nigeria's a subway.
Yeah, and
we don't have one in Ghana.
Oh, I follow everything. I follow everything, and it went viral. Nigerian government president sitting in the subway. But I didn't want to talk about trains and stuff like that.
There's a question.
All I mean, answering him is that, hey, all this will come to Ghana.
I see.
Yeah.
But we don't know when. I mean,
the trams and subways, they'll come to Ghana to ease the traffic. They'll come to Ghana.
that's a so do you have a date? Do you have any detail on that?
You see, right now I've not been engaged by any government body.
Really?
Everything I've done is for free for Ghana.
I see.
The 100-day agenda I gave is for free.
Wow.
Building the Silicon Valley of Ghana, which is bringing Google Artificial Intelligence Center to Ghana, one of the most important developments in Ghana. You know, it's for free. You know, it's free. It's a free gift to Nana. I want Nana to talk about it in the United Nations. Ghana has AI lab research in Ghana.
It's coming when?
It's coming. They announced it before the end of the year to be here.
So how is that going to help Ghana?
AI?
Yes. Artificial intelligence. There's a fear that I can take my job.
I say your galamsey. No, it's not good. People
it's not the one. Yes.
They have this notion that AI is going to take people's
replace
jobs. No.
manpower.
No. Artificial intelligence means that the drones can find the galamsey.
I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes. In the U.S., artificial intelligence is going to drive and pilot helicopters.
So now I have to run off, but you are telling me that you put up, is your Silicon Valley that's allowing the
yes
center by Google or something?
Yes, to come here. Because in the Silicon Valley, that's the one thing I did personally. If you can pull it up there,
yeah.
www.siliconvalleygh.com. I was the first to talk about AI labs in Ghana, in all these universities, because that's what this is about. So we had to compete with South Africa. We had to compete with Nigeria. We had to compete with Kenya. And we had to compete with Ivory Coast. If I have done the Silicon Valley of Ivory Coast, I own that domain name, Silicon Valley de la Côte d'Ivoire.
Okay.
I own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in South Africa, I'm doing one. When I do, they will get the new second. Yeah.
So you're saying that a plant is coming to Ghana?
Yes.
What plant is this?
It's not a plant.
It's a laboratory, right?
Yes.
What lab is this?
Artificial Intelligence Lab.
What is it supposed to do?
Artificial Intelligence Lab would help develop the next generation software that drives galamsey, let you find where the galamsey people, precision agriculture and all of that. And if you're not part of that technology ecosystem, you cannot compete in the future. So Ghana, to win that, is very important. It can even let ships drive by themselves.
I get your point, but unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today's conversation too.
Yeah.
Doc,
let them go, let the teachers, let the students all Google SiliconValleyGH.com. They will see all the things I'm doing there.
I appreciate your coming to the studio today. And folks, that's where we end today's edition of UPfront. My name is Raymond Akwa.